Hello again and welcome to the Warhammer 40k Militarum Tempestus Tactics video. Today we will be taking a look at one of the whole four formations available to the Militarum Tempestus. I've already covered the Hellrain review, Hellrain formation, and today I'm going to be covering the Ground Assault formation. This is one of the formations that came with the Militarum Tempestus Codex. In fact, I think it is one of the very first formations ever, really. I think it's definitely one of the earlier ones. And I think it's a very good formation and it's very balanced. I think it's a very good example of how Games Workshop first envisaged formations working in the game before they went completely bonkers with them. Okay, so what do you need? And I'll explain what I mean by that later. So what do you need for the ground assault formation? Well, what you need is one Commissar, which is your tax, and then you need one Tempestus Scion command squad and 3 normal Scion squads. And then each squad, not the Commissar, needs a Taurox Prime. So that's 4 squads, 4 Taurox Primes, and a Commissar, essentially. Now, the bonuses that you get for this formation is for each time that they disembark from the Taurox, each time a squad disembarks from, or each time a unit disembarks from a Taurox Prime in this formation, they gain pinning and twin linked. So that's really good. The first thing you've got to, before we even get into how we would utilize that, first thing you've got to notice is that it says for each time they disembark. Okay, so this formation, it's designed where you charge forward, you disembark, you do your alpha strike, but then if you've got any Scions left over, feel absolutely free to jump them straight back in the Tauroxes, if you've got any Taurox left over as well, and do exactly the same thing next turn. So at a minimum, or realistically I should say, you'll get 2 turns of twin linking. It's perfectly possible and fairly easy to get 3 turns of twin linking, because you could drive forward 6 inches, get out 6 inches, and have twin linking turn 1. Turn 2, get back in. Turn 3, do it again. Turn 4, get back in. Turn 5, do it again. So it's perfectly possible to do it 3 times, although you'll probably end up spending turn 1 going as fast as you can towards the enemy, so you'll probably do it on turns 2 and turns 4. But then if the game goes on to turn 6, which it often will do, then you could do it 4 times. So I think on average you'll get to do this 2 to 3 times. So that's quite good. It's perfectly good. Don't forget this pairs nicely with the Taurox Primes weapons, especially with the Daka Primes, because that means essentially your whole army's rocking twin linking the whole time. Because your Daka Primes are twin linked anyway. Your Punchy Primes to a certain extent are twin linked, so the autocannons are twin linked. But your Daka Primes are twin linked anyway. And that means when your guys get out as well, they'll be twin linked. Now, they won't be twin linked when they're shooting out of the tank itself, out of the fire points, but they, apart from that, they will be twin linked. So most of the time, you'll be twin linked, which is good. Twin link, twin link, twin link. Most of the time, you'll be re-rolling to hit, which is great. So that's just good. Now, the restrictions are obviously that you have to have all those Taurox Primes, but also they must all start embarked. They can't start disembarked, and also they must all be deployed on the field as 1 unit, or all be deployed off the field as 1 unit. So you can't have some in reserve and some not reserve. They've all got to be in one place. However, if you do put them into reserve, you only have to roll 1 dice for them all to come in. So it's a double-edged sword, because it means you only have to make 1 roll to get your full force in. But if you fuck it up, you don't get anyone in, which is pretty bad. But with all the ways of re-rolling reserves these days, it's not the end of the world. So we've talked about what you get, what your restrictions are, what the tax is. Obviously the Commissar is considered the tax in this. You don't really need him. So how would I use this formation? I've already sort of touched on this in my Talks Prime loadout, but how would I actually use the men themselves? Well, this formation just screams to me plasma. Plasma, plasma, plasma. That's what this formation screams to me. What's the number one issue when taking plasma on Scions, especially on Scions? Is it overheats, kills your guy, and then not only have you lost, not only has the gun not done its job, which is really, really important with Scions. For Scions, you can't have bad luck, essentially. Everything has to do its job for everything to go well. So when a plasma gun overheats or misses, you don't do your job, the rest of the army starts suffering. But not only that, is you lose potentially 50-50 chance that you're going to lose one of your guys. You can't afford that. Your men, you will have as many men as a Space Marine commander, but he will have a lot tougher men. Obviously, you're getting loads of special weapons, but that's essentially what you trade off for Scions. You trade off the durability of a Space Marine for the ability to bring a fucking load of guns. So the worst thing is when you lose one of those guns, and you lose the guy that comes with it. Now, thanks to this, you can twin link away. You'll be much less likely to burn yourself to death. It's fantastic. So plasma, plasma, plasma. I also think that melter guns would work really well with this formation. Less so, I will admit. But again, you drive up to that you send two Torxes off with a couple of melter squads in each. One of them doesn't make it. Let's say it gets blown out. The Torx gets blown up before it can make it. The other one makes it. The guys hop out, and imagine if it's not in the formation. They hop out, fire two melter guns. One of them misses, or both of them miss. Well, now your army's fucked. You didn't take care of that hammerhead tank. You didn't force it to jink, or you didn't take care of that, big fuck off vehicle, wave serpent, fire dragon, fire prism, stuff like that. You didn't force them to jink, or you didn't kill them. Now you drive up, you lose one squad on the way in. That's okay. The other one drops out. You're almost guaranteed to get 2 hits. You're going to force them, because what's going to happen is you're going to force them to jink. If it's Eldar, if it's Tau, you're going to hop out and you're going to say, right, I'm twin linked, I'm firing 2. You specifically tell them, if you play mind games with your opponent, you say, right, I'm twin linked because of my formation, I'm about to fire 2 melter guns, would you like to jink? 99% of the time, they're going to go, melter guns, twin linked, fuck, I better jink. For you as a Scion commander, that's fucking perfect. Because if you do this to 2 or 3 of your enemy vehicles, that's suddenly, they're still alive. Let's say they assume that they get good luck and they jink all the damage that you do to them. That's kind of fine, because now the enemy isn't going to be doing any damage with those vehicles. None of those vehicles are going to hit you worth shit. If you make like a hammerhead jink, imagine it's an ion, a railgun hammerhead, suddenly it's not popping down that Strength 6 AP4 submunition blast. Fucking great. It's making things jink. It's one of the reasons why vehicles aren't quite as good as monstrous creatures in many ways, is when they jink, they suddenly lose all their firepower. But anyway, and if they don't jink, then hello, dead fucking vehicle. Double melter gun onto the side, or if it's a command squad, 4 melter guns. So plasma keeps you guys alive. Melter guns twin link in this formation. It helps you with plasma because it keeps you guys alive. It helps you with melter because it means you don't have those fucking lemon turns where your shooting just goes to shit. And also, interestingly, and I bet I'm gonna get some raised eyebrows here. Flamers. That's right, flamers. Because, yes, you don't roll to hit with flamers, but I don't know how well known this rule is, but it's one I personally always forget. Okay. Flamers, if you have a twin linked flamer, it means you reroll to wound. Straight up, reroll to wound. It generally doubles the amount of wounds that you do. Now you imagine, let's say you've gone a bit all out on this formation. You imagine a 10-man squad of Scions with 2 flamers. Drive up, and your opponent says, what's in that? Your opponent's got to choose. He's got 4 Taurox Primes, maybe more, maybe 8. Maybe you've taken loads of Taurox Primes. Let's say you've taken. It's a 750 point game. You've taken this formation as basically a whole army. You drive forward, and you've got two Melter squads in Taurox Primes, and then a Plasma Command squad in a Taurox Prime, and then a Flamer squad. Your opponent's probably going to be like, well, I don't need to worry about that Flamer squad. It's only a Flamer squad. Suddenly, you drive forward, you hop out, and you absolutely toast his ass. This, either a 10-man Scion squad with 2 flamers, or a command squad with 4 twin-linked flamers, that is a guaranteed clear objective. Even against, traditionally tough units, or units that are fairly resistant to flamethrowers, like Space Marine tactical squads, or Tau crisis suits, even Terminators to a certain extent, will not be too happy when they get hit by 4 templates and suddenly they take normally, each template's doing 4 wounds, so that's 16 wounds. Or each template is doing 4 hits. Normally they'd only take 8 wounds. Oh, I can survive that. That's not a problem. Suddenly they're taking 12 wounds if it's a toughness 4 unit. Oh shit! If that's Space Marines, you just wiped out 4 Space Marines. If that's Space Marine Scouts, you just wiped out the whole squad defending that objective. If that's Terminators, you still killed 2 Terminators. If that's Centurions, very roughly, you're still going to kill a Centurion or 2. You're definitely going to kill one if you have a fucking plasma pistol on your guy as well. But obviously that's not what you want to use it for. Imagine if you've got an enemy. Imagine you're playing Tyranids and a big fucking giant blob of gaunts, Termagants or Hormagaunts. Suddenly you jump out. You're gonna get 5 or 6 nids per template. You're gonna get roughly 20 hits. You're gonna get a lot of wounds. You can wipe out pretty much a whole brood, or majority of a brood. Twin link flamers are really, really good. Really, really good. And they're cheap. It's 60 points, 60 to 75 points for a maxed out Flamer command squad. It's 20 Plasma command squad. It's 20 for a Flamer command squad. Incredible. So I'm not going to harp on about it. That's pretty much I've sort of gone on a bit long-winded about the formation. I was trying to keep it to a 10-minute video. Weapons that I don't feel benefit from this formation, okay? Definitely the hotshot volley gun. The problem with the hotshot volley gun is if you move, you get half range and half shots because it's a salvo weapon. Well, guess what? Disembarking counts as moving. So you're only going to be getting 8 shot. If you jump out of your Taurox, you're only going to get 8 hotshot volley gun shots. Or you jump out of your Taurox, you can get 8 plasma shots. Hotshot volley gun, it doesn't help it. Grenade launcher, well, my opinion on that. The grenade launcher is a fantastic weapon for the Imperial Guard because you have, you can put them everywhere and it doesn't take away from your firepower. Fucking grenade launchers and Scions, you're taking up valuable special weapon slots. So I just wouldn't take grenade launchers in general. But yeah, that's what I think of the formation. I think it's a very, very powerful formation. And the last thing I was going to say is I said I'd cover what, I think this is a very old formation, and it's obvious that it's an old one because this is basically how formations were originally introduced. Was you could take a select force and you would lose objective secured, but you would gain some benefits. But you would essentially be still taking the same army as if you were taking a combined arms detachment. So you could take this formation or a combined arms detachment, exactly the same format. Now, if you take a combined arms detachment, you don't have the twin linking, but you do have the objective secured on all your transports, on all your guys. Or you take what is essentially a CAD-like formation, and instead of being objective secured, you've got the same army format, the same army style, but instead of being objective secured, you have twin linking and pinning. Now, you notice I haven't said much about pinning, and that's because, generally speaking, pinning is pretty useless these days. But in a pinch, it can help you out. If you're facing down, if you're facing down any non-fearless troops or any no troops with and they shall know no fear, then you're fine. But the problem is, if the moment you face down fearless, the pinning goes away, and fearless is everywhere. And the moment you face down and they shall know no fear, it becomes a problem. And considering space marines are everywhere, it's not great. But you're not taking the formation with the pinning, you're taking the formation for the twin linked. So, hope you guys found this video useful. I should be covering the Airborne Assault Squadron as the next formation for the Scions. Once that's done, we have covered all the Scion-specific formations. So there we go, that's nice. But I hope you found this video informative. Tell me what you guys think, if you've got any experience with this formation. I think it's a fantastic one for the Scions. I think it's superior to taking a CAD. I think this should, every Scion army should have, 1,500 points should basically be made of a ground assault formation and maybe a couple of Hellrain brigades. That's what I think would be competitive Scions, but that's a video for another time. But yeah, tell me what you guys think, if you've got any experience with it, and I'll see you guys next time.